Ando, up next, we've got the Stock Report, one of my favourite segments, brought to you by your good mate
David Pittman, fantastic.
Taylor Collison's, great people down there.
Yeah, love their sport, love their footy, which is fantastic.
Mate, let's get straight into it. Big week for the Stock Report, with especially with your Crows, but let's get started. Brad Scott.
Now, before we get to Brad Scott, I want to get to Eddie Betts, because I notice you've put him on here on the list, but 2 weeks ago, I reckon you sold him. I reckon you got rid of him. And 6 goals, 300 games, probably kicked the goal of the year. And all I thought about was you. I thought, I reckon, correct me if I'm wrong, I reckon you sold him on the Stock Report.
I might have, yes.
Oh,
controversial to Crows.
Okay.
But, one I was right. Joshy Jenkins, you said to hold on to him.
Yes, that's 1-1. That's 1-1 because I did say hold, and I sat on the fence on that
Looking
one.
after you, old Crows boys.
That's it.
Mate, let's get into this week's Brad Scott.
Brad Scott, probably if it wasn't for Melbourne, he would have copped a lot more heat. There's no question about that, and they've copped plenty this week already. Look, I think the president's right. I reckon it might be time to go. They're just not going anywhere. North Melbourne. They should have gone to Tasmania 4 or 5 years ago, but they're just like as Wayne Carey said, they're just not a well beater at the moment. They're just there as part of the numbers, and that's not good enough.
And one thing Wayne said that I loved as well is that we're irrelevant. No one wants to talk about us. Like no one. It's taken 5 rounds for people to actually start going. Hang on.
They're down the bottom.
What are they doing? It's taken them 5 weeks to pick it up. You hear about Melbourne and all these other.
You're right. They jumped on Melbourne so quickly, and they Paul Roos out in the press saying not good enough, and and it happened pretty well straight away. Yet with North Melbourne, it's just been floating. It's just been floating along, and I think Wayne's right. And as probably one of the greatest players, to see his club in a disarray and not really spoken much about, it's probably very, very disappointing, and I think they need to clean out.
And I tell you what, it's hard as a supporter, and I love that you brought up Paul Roos because he's the man for the job. Pay him whatever he wants. You get him to sign a 3-year deal. He's the man to turn the corner for us.
I forgot also you're a North Melbourne supporter. Oh.
Yes, so it's been hard times.
So his Stock Report's hard on you at the moment, but I think
each week.
I think they're right. I think they need to clean out. Yeah, I'm not sitting on the fence.
Not just footy. I think from the board as well. I think there's a bit more ruthlessness needs to be had.
Well, it's interesting you say that because that was a fair bit of the actual article. It's not just the coach. It's and the assistants. Yeah. It's the board. Yeah. Out they go. Let's freshen up and let's get them talking about something positive for once.
So we're selling.
I'm selling.
Yep, I'm with you there. And we've spoken about them briefly, but Melbourne, where are you with them? Being disappointing, but you still just think they're going to come good.
They've got a bit of bite to them. When you got Viney and Petrakis and those sort of players, the great big ruckman who's just huge man. They've got the talent, to take that next step. Whereas North Melbourne, I don't think they have. They haven't got anything.
No.
Whereas I think Melbourne have got something, and they've just got to put it together like they did last year.
Yeah, I've been saying it I'm with you.
I'm holding.
I'm holding on them. I'm saying every
I'm
week
really
they're
disappointed.
I'm
really disappointed in Melbourne. I think they've been really lacklustre. I've heard that they've had a pretty average pre-season.
Well, I heard a lot of them even today. They were saying a lot of them come back in horrible nick.
Horrible nick. Probably really, still staying on their performance. You're only good as your last game.
Yeah.
And so far the last few games have been pretty average.
And I think the one they'll be most disappointed in is Stephen May. They've come out and said that he actually returned in horrible condition, and he's their big recruit.
And he's their big recruit.
He's meant to be the one that was the missing piece of the puzzle for them. And I tell you what I reckon hurts them as well, Ando. That's Jesse Hogan not being there. I don't think they.
He gives them fight, doesn't he? He gives them fight. I'd hate to stand him because I reckon he's really nasty, and he's a pretty ruthless sort of guy. And to lose him and then obviously the club off field and pre-season was obviously very average. And just thinking about last year.
Yeah, and so you're going to hold 2 weeks. I'm with you there.
Yep.
And I went and watched them on Sunday, but the Crows, are they back for you?
Well, I think they played really well. You could sort of see, they just had a different game plan. They held onto the ball. They must have listened to us last week where they, so they went to that sideway kick for that 30 metres just to hold the ball and not go long all the time and make it too difficult for Jenkins and Big Tex. All of a sudden, Tex got a bit of confidence. Quite a few possessions, 3 goals. And a lot of the players got plenty of the ball.
Well, they're actually giving their forwards space and hitting him out in front and allowing him to run onto, which they were probably struggling with.
Well, they just move so quickly, as you said, in the forward line. I mean, like Smith's, and congratulations to Smith as well as 150, 2 magnificent goals. But their speed going into the forward line, they were getting there quickly, giving the forward line a chance. It was, and coming to the ground where Eddie Betts was just outstanding. How good were Gold Coast? I thought they were really average.
Yeah.
They were really average, and I think it's a really important win for the Crows. But I don't think you can hang your hat on beating Gold Coast in Adelaide. That's my only thoughts.
I agree with you there. I thought at quarter time with both teams.
It was a tug-of-war, wasn't it?
Not kicking a goal.
Yeah.
I would have given Gold Coast the win there. Played scrappy, and they probably brought Adelaide down to their level, but they just kicked into gear after that, I thought. And
once they got clean, and that's been their probably biggest downfall all year. They just haven't been clean, especially with their handballs to create that run. Once they sort of got that underway, wow, they were quick. They were quick.
And we've spoken about him, Eddie Betts. How's that goalie's kick? That's
what
he's there to do.
Well, it's funny. I didn't go to the game. I was at at a caravan park down at Clare, and not everyone was Crow supporters. He kicked that goal. We only had a little TV. Everyone stood up, and you could hear the whole caravan going crazy. And I said, that's one of the best goals I've seen. That was a cracker.
Well, I was filthy. The old man hooked me up, and we had some nice little tickets in the room. Had to take the missus out she had to go and do a function, and I've heard the roar from outside. I had to watch the replay on the big screen, so I've watched the whole game. It's the last 5 minutes. So she copped a bit of a spray after that.
You don't want to miss those great moments in sport. That's for sure.
That's all good. Ando, another great stock report. For another week, and I'm sure we'll have another good one. I
just do want to talk to you just before we go. Thanks of course to Taylor Collisons, Joshy Jenkins. Let's just quickly, briefly have a bit of a chat about him because he on the stock report. Do you hold him? I mean, he's 6'5". He moves very well. We know what he can do, or do we sell him? And this is serious now. I mean, he went on SBN and spoke on the radio, said that he didn't agree. He didn't agree with the decision by the match committee to drop him down to the SANFL. Didn't have a great game. Got probably lucky to be a dozen. Maybe that and a couple of goals. I thought it was coming. You thought it was coming. He didn't, which really surprised me a little bit. Obviously it didn't sit well with him, which I was really surprised with. Is that a bit of a crack in saying, well, maybe I'm not comfortable with the Adelaide Footy Club?
I think as soon as you start publicly going back at your coach,
the
relationship's gone. I think he's on the way out.
Do you think he could be on our stock report every week?
It's going to be a week to week, but I think he's on the way out, and they signed him on that big contract that they probably shouldn't have. He was playing some good footy at the time.
We know what he can do though. That's the thing. We know what he can do.
A couple of weeks, I think he's just got to head down, bum up in the SANFL, kick a few bags, and he'll be straight back. But his effort on the weekend probably shows that he's not interested in doing that.
Yeah. What a stock report. You've just handled that beautifully.
No, good as always, mates. And thanks to Taylor Collison.
Yep.
And
Davey Pittman. Good on you, mate. Thanks.
All right.